Hello friends, welcome to Life Class with Ayum. I'm so happy to be with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. This is my Pain Your Game Ministries, and this is that place where we learn those practical things that can bring hope and comfort to our lives. We are in for a great time today. In this month of September, I started a topic last week that I titled The Seasons of Life. And if you missed last week's teaching, I want to encourage you to visit the videos library on our Facebook page or visit our YouTube channel, My Pain Your Game Ministry, so that you can catch up. And while you are there, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel or like our Facebook page. And when you subscribe on YouTube, please make sure that you turn on the sign that has the sign of a bell. It stands for notification. And what that means is that anytime that we upload a new video, you will be notified. So today, in continuation of that topic, I'm going to be speaking on what I title Recognizing Your Season. Recognizing your season. Last week, I made us to understand that in the same way that we have seasons in the natural, the atmospheric seasons that we have, like for instance, in the temperate region, you have the seasons of autumn, you have spring, you have summer, you have winter. And then in the tropical regions, we have like the wet and the dry season. In life, we also go through similar seasons. And I made us to understand last week that because the sons of Issachar had understanding of the times and seasons that they were in, their brethren were at their command, and they had a lot of leaders. So when you understand the season that you are in, it puts you in command of life. You don't live your life in pity party. You don't live your life feeling sorry for yourself because you find yourself in a particular season. So today, let's talk about recognizing the seasons of life. I want to share with you from Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 says, "For there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under heavens." There is a time for everything. There's a season for every activity under heaven. So in your life, there is time. We know that and if you read that chapter, if you continue reading the chapter, it says there's a time to be born, there's a time to die, there's a time to plant, there's a time to reap. So that is talking about seasons, because as a farmer, you don't plant in every season. There's a season for planting. So it's vital, if we must make progress in life, if we will live victorious life, that we understand the seasons that we are in life. And then in Mark chapter 13, verse 28, Mark chapter 13, verse 28 says, "From the fig tree learn its lesson. As soon as the branches become tender and puts out its leaves, you know that summer is near." So in the natural, we can learn from, the Bible says, from the fig tree, people learn lessons. They know that when the leaves become tender and then it begins to put out its leaves, you know that summer is near. So that is giving an indication of when summer is coming. So I'm just going to point out some things that when we begin to see it in our life, it helps us to know that these are the signs of the season that we are in, or these are the signs of the season that we are about to step into. And that will help us to be better equipped and to know how to manage the seasons. So for instance, now I'm going to use the 4 seasons that we have in the temperate region to compare it with our seasons of life and to help us recognize the seasons of life that we are in. So for instance, let's look at the first season I want to look at is the autumn season. And I'm starting with that because that is the season that we are in right now. We have just stepped into autumn here in the United Kingdom. So the autumn season is that season that the green leaves that were around during the summer begins to dry up, and then after a while you see them falling off. And it's that season that the wind setting. The autumn is that season that is between the summer and the winter. So the summer was, I'm going to go into the summer, but you had a lovely weather during the summer, and then you now begin to move into the autumn season, where the leaves now begin to fall and dryness begins to set in. And then you find that also in the autumn season, the nights begin to get longer. In the summer, we have longer nights than days. But when we step into the autumn, the nights begin to get longer, the days begin to get shorter. And then you find that it is also known as the fall. That is because of the way things now begin to fall, the leaves begin to fall. And when you compare it to your season in life, you find that in life, that autumn begin to set in our life when it looks like things are now falling apart. You that used to be in control of everything in your life, everything around you, it looks like you are beginning to lose grip of things. Things are beginning to slip out of your hand. You see things now beginning to fall apart, things that were once in place begin to fall apart. So that is telling you that this is an autumn season that you are in your life. And when that happens, you feel as if you are losing control. And for many people, when autumn begin to set in, they begin to get anxious. Why are this happening? You begin to question yourself, and then you begin to get worried because of the autumn season. But I want to let you know one thing I said last week, which I'm going to emphasize today, and I'll keep emphasizing during the course of this teaching, is that seasons do change. Seasons do change. So each time you have it at the back of your mind that whatever season I am in life is temporal. I'm going to be in it for a while, and after this while, I'm going to move into the next season. So I've just told you now the characteristics of the autumn season. Next week, I'm going to tell you how to maximize each season. So I'll just today dwell on telling you the characteristics of each season. And then the next season that I want to talk about is the winter season. In the natural, we move from autumn to winter. You find that when the leaves begin to fall, the nights begin to get longer in the autumn. In the winter, the nights become the longest. The winter season seems to be like the most difficult season for most people. And that is because we have very long nights. And is this season, and if you compare it to the season of life, you find that the winter season can be compared to that night season in your life. Is that season where it looks like everything have completely fallen apart. You find that it looks like you don't have control of anything any longer. It looks like people have turned their backs on you. The winter season can be a very lonely season of your life because you seem to be alone. It's that season of intense pain. Maybe you go through a bereavement. Maybe you lose your job. Maybe you lose your health. Maybe something terrible happened, and then you are wondering, why is this happening to me? I want to remind you that it is a season that you are in, and that is a winter season in your life. In the winter season, it's a time of tears. You shed a lot of tears. Remember when the Bible says in Psalm 30 verse 5 that weeping may endure for a night. I'm sure it is referring to the autumn season there, when you weeping may endure. But the good news is that joy comes in the morning. That is to remind you that the seasons don't last forever. So whether it is a winter season that you are in, remember that the seasons do change. So be hopeful. Don't throw in the towel. Don't take your life. Don't do anything nasty just because you are in a winter season. And because of the night that prolongs in the winter season, you seem to not even see the daylight at all. I remember in some winter seasons, some of the winter seasons we experience in this country, you find that as you are going to work in the morning, it's dark. You put on your headlights. So maybe the little time that the day the sun will come out, you are in the office, so you don't even see the sun. By the time you close and you are going back, it's still dark. And then you just find that you hardly even see the sun at all. And that is how it could be when you are in the winter season of your life, because everything looks dark around you. And when you're in the winter season, you see, because your vision is blurred, you can't see very well. You also don't seem to see those potentials in yourself. You seem to beat down yourself because of the way maybe life have thrown things at you. But I'm still reminding you that it is just a season. It is just a season. So those are some of the characteristics of the winter season. And of course, we move on to the spring season. And in the natural, the spring usually follows the winter season. And the spring season is now a time of new beginnings. That is when the trees begin to spring up again. That is when the night begin to recede. It begins to reduce. The dark nights, the long nights begin to reduce, and when your days begin to get longer. And then you find that the flowers begin to bud again. The green leaves begin to appear on the trees. And then there is a time of rebirth of nature. And then you find that animals that went into hibernation, because that is what happens in the winter season. The animals go into hibernation. They go into hiding because of the harsh, the severe weather. And that is what happens to us in life. When we're in the winter season, we always go into hibernation. You go into hiding because the weather, it's not comfortable. Maybe your name has been vandalized. A lot of things have happened to you. People, like I said, people may have turned their backs on you. And because of the season that you are, you just retreat. You go into hibernation. But thank God for the spring season, when things begin to spring up again. If you head on to hope in your winter season, you see that hope now bearing fruit, because you can now see that, yes, things are springing up for me again. The winter was not the end of my life after all. I have made it to the spring season. So that is the spring season that things begin to blossom again. Animals begin to come out of hibernation. Maybe your business that crumbled begin to pick up again, or you start something new because it's a time of new beginning, and then you can see that, yes, things are picking up again. So it is still another season in your life. You see yourself now bouncing back. Things begin to just, maybe relationships that were ruined now begin to be repaired, or you begin to get into new relationships that are now beginning to flourish. So this is another season of your life. And of course, we have the summer season. And the summer season for most people is the most pleasurable season. It's a season when the nights get very long. I can tell you that in the tropical, in the temperate region here where we live, in the summer season, you can have maybe like 3/4 of the time as daylight. And then the night will be very, very short. I told you last week that the first time I visited the United Kingdom many years ago in the summer, I was scared because at 9:10 p.m., the sun was still up, and I was like, is the world coming to an end? What is happening? And then I was told that that is the way this season is. But I shouldn't worry. Very soon, the weather will change, and then you'll find that you hardly see the sun again. So this is the summer season. This is when those leaves that were now like the flowers that were beginning to blossom in the spring go into their full maturity. You see the beauty of the flower. You see that the seed that you planted in the spring, they begin to bear fruit. That is when it's now a time for you to harvest all the things that you have been doing. So everybody still have their share of the summer season. But the reason why I'm sharing some of these things with you today is that we need to recognize the season that we are in. If you recognize the season that you are in, you will know how to manage those seasons. And then life will not take you by surprise. And you also not give up when you are in a particular season of your life, because you know that seasons do change. Seasons do change. Of course, in the summer, that is when we like to have a lot of parties. People want to come together and celebrate. Maybe people that have done well, that is the time they want to reward people that have helped them to achieve whatever they have achieved. So the summertime is when you have a lot of friends around, people to celebrate with you, people to rejoice with you, because they can now see the fruit of your labor. But next week, I'm going to be telling you how to maximize each season. And one thing I want to leave with you is that every season has its advantages. In as much as the winter season is not comfortable, as harsh as it is, it has its advantages. And that is actually the quote. There's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson that says, each moment of the year has its own beauty. Each moment of the year has its own beauty. So as much as every season can also have their drawbacks, they all have their advantages. And that is why I want to encourage you to join me next week at the same time on this channel. And I'm going to be telling you how to maximize each season. Because if you are in the summer season of your life right now, don't laugh at people that are going through the winter seasons. Because like they will say in the world, tables do turn around. We don't pray for bad things to happen, but just like I said, every season has its advantages. And the God that created times and seasons has the reason why He made the summer, he made the winter, he made the fall, he made the spring. There is a reason for it. And that is why we need to recognize this season so that we can take advantage of it. So I'm just going to be brief like I always want to be, because I know everybody is busy. But I hope you've gotten something from here today. I hope you've gotten some encouragement, especially if you are going through that season in your life, that life don't seem to be palatable. That seemed to be a very trying moment in your life. I want to remind you that that season will soon pass away. It is not going to be forever. And very soon, you will be in your summer season where you'll be calling us to come and celebrate with you. So hold on to hope. Hold on to God. Don't give up, because seasons do change. On the last Saturday of this month, which is the 25th of September, I'm going to be bringing in a guest who is going to be sharing some life stories with us of some seasons that she has experienced in her life. I want you to make it a date with us, 1 p.m. UK time. We are going to be broadcasting live from our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. And I believe you are going to be blessed by the story you will hear. And if you also have seen changes, you've gone through some severe seasons, and then you've also seen things turn around for you, share your experience with us, because there are people out there that your story will bless. Because when somebody is going through a severe season, they don't seem to remember that they once had summer, and they don't seem to remember that that season is going to change. And that is why it's important that we share stories. So I want to encourage you, join us the last Saturday of the month where we'll be sharing these stories. So I just want to encourage you that continue to hold on to God, because seasons do change. So until I be with you again next week, just take care of yourself, remain hopeful, and maximize the season that you are in. God bless you.
Are you going through a traumatic experience? Does all hope seem lost? Are you wondering if you'll ever smile again? Then these books are for you. He Gave Me Comfort by A.M. Edgar and Through the Storm by A.M. Edgar. These books are available in both paperback and Kindle version on Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk. Also available in electronic version on AcadaBooks.com. So take heart, because these books will restore your hope, and yes, you will smile again.